This is Stephen Smith's brother-in-law. Senator, how are you? I just heard you say, Senator, that without the cooperation of Senator McCarthy or his supporters, you thought Hubert Humphrey would get the nomination.
Well, I believe I said that I thought it would be very, very difficult. I think it will be very difficult. I would hope we could come together. As I said right from the beginning, I think that the primaries, well, let me start. The primaries, I think, have indicated quite clearly that the Democratic Party wants to change. More than 70% of the electorate have voted against the Johnson-Humphrey policies of the last 3 years. We have an opportunity now to move the Democratic Party in a different direction. But if we are divided on our side, then I think that it's going to be much more difficult. And I would hope that with the California primary, with South Dakota in, and with the other primaries that have occurred, that perhaps we could unite now that the primaries are finished and completed, unite and try to accomplish what we all started out to accomplish, which was for a cause, for a purpose, not for an individual.
Well, it appears, though, doesn't it, that you're not going to be able to shake Eugene McCarthy?
I think really it's up to him. I mean, he's going to have to make that decision himself. This is a cross-section of the country here in the state of California. And if I'm successful here in the state of California, successful in South Dakota, successful in Nebraska, successful in Indiana, and the District of Columbia won against Hubert Humphrey's slate 2-1, which was a regular Democratic organization. I think it's an indication that perhaps we can go on and accomplish something. But really, in the last analysis, it's up to him to decide. But I would hope people would now stop and think and make a judgment as to whether we really want to make this kind of a change, or whether we're going to continue the policies of the past 3 years in our cities and in the war in Vietnam. That seems to me what is the major question.
Senator, the other day when you arrived from Portland at the Los Angeles press conference, you said on 2 occasions that you thought the country was maybe heading toward a Humphrey-Nixon contest in the general election.
And I said at that time that I'd abide by the results here in the state of California.
And did that mean you'd drop out if you lost?
Well,
we all said it meant that.
I know that.
And I'd like to know what...
Well, let me say that it would appear that I had, that according to what you say with your machine, that it's been successful. So I don't have to face that at the moment. But in any case, I said that I would abide by the results, and I think that the words spoke for themselves. If we go into these primaries, we go on the basis that we want to see if we have popular support. Hubert Humphrey dropped out after West Virginia when it was clear that he wasn't winning, and it seems to me that it's a lesson. If we're going to win, and those of us who are opposed to the present policies, it's difficult enough as it is. If we're divided ourselves, after we've gone through the primaries, everybody's had an opportunity to judge us, judge our policies, judge what we want for the future, what we want to accomplish for the United States, what we want to have the United States stand for around the rest of the world. It seems to me now that the primaries are finished or completed that to try to come together would be terribly, terribly important.
You have no way now between California and Chicago to draw the vice president into a fight.
No, do I have to put it that way?
Well, I put it that way, and
no. What I would like to, I think that would be important. I think it's unfortunate he didn't come into the primaries. He campaigned more in South Dakota than I did, but and he wasn't successful there. I don't think that the policies that he espouses would be successful in the country, and I don't think they'd be successful with the Democratic Party. And I think all the primaries have indicated that. But I think at least to have a discussion with me now and various parts of the country about the policies he espouses in Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, and what he intends to do in the cities, and what I intend, and what we're going to do about the rural areas, and what we're going to do about the farmer. I think it would be very important for the Democratic Party and for the people prior to the time we go to the convention in Chicago. That's what I would like, and I would hope he'd be willing to meet me.
Well, are you saying, Senator, that if the Democratic Party nominates the vice president, it will be cutting its own throat in November?
Well, again, you use those expressions. I think that the Democratic Party would be making a very bad mistake to ignore the wishes of the people and ignore these primaries.
And you would not be willing to join with Mr. Humphrey in order to help the Democratic Party win if it
And
comes
what
to
is
that?
that? In what way? If
As
he
the Vice
were-
President.
In what order?
Well, well,
I'd be
you
glad
would be
having-
second.
No, well, no, I wouldn't.
You
I mean,
wouldn't-
I'd be
you
glad.
would do that.
I'll be glad to help the Democratic Party. I believe in the Democratic Party. In what way? Of course, I would have to work out. But because particularly as Richard Nixon is the nominee of the Republican Party, which I think is unacceptable to the country, and I have strong disagreements, as I say, with Hubert Humphrey and the position that he espouses, and particularly what he said this week that he would step aside if Lyndon Johnson then decides that he wants to run, that he'll then step aside. That I don't understand.
You thought that was fairly shoddy politics, I take it.
No, again, Mr. Roger, I don't think that you're either in it or you're not in it, and you don't say I'm in the middle of it and I want these delegates to support me, but if somebody else steps in, I'm going to step aside. That doesn't make any sense. At least it doesn't seem to make sense to me. What I would like to do is to, and what I think would be helpful to the Democratic Party, if we met and had a series of discussions or debates about where we're going and where we are at the present time and where we're going as far as the future is concerned. I think what is most unfortunate is that he didn't come into any of the primaries, that the Vice President didn't.
You said a moment ago that you would support the nominee of the Democratic Party, even if he were Hubert Humphrey, in a way that would have to be worked out later. Are you saying that you haven't decided whether you would campaign for him?
Well, let me put it this way, that I'm in it to win and to try to talk about what I will do if I lose. It doesn't seem to me very profitable.
No. Senator, as a result of this presumed California victory, do you think now that there will be a further delay in the movement of the big city politicians?
Well, I think we've had some success in that up to the present time in Michigan and Ohio, which I think is very important. And so I would hope now that I'm free to go back and talk to some of them, and also to talk to the people themselves in these various states and talk about really what are the issues. I think that these primaries have indicated to the people in those states what the issues are, and they've clearly rejected the position that is being espoused by the Vice President overwhelmingly. And I think the people in the other states will, and so that's why I think that the Democratic Party would make such a mistake if it doesn't recognize that.
Are some of the delegates that are listed as leaning or even committed to the Vice President, are they squeezable? Are they solid?
Roger, you use the expression.
Well, isn't that the way you talk
No, I
behind
don't.
closed doors?
No, I don't.
It's not.
I don't.
Well,
maybe somebody else does.
But I mean, are they still up for grabs, even though they're
I'm
listed?
going to make an effort with them, although they are listed. And and it's the first really opportunity that I've had at all, because I've been involved in these various primaries.
Thank you. I'll work on my language for the next time, Senator. Thank you.